Hello, my name is Misty. I have dysautonomia. This is going to be the first of many videos to come. I'm using these YouTube videos as a way to show people what it's like to live with dysautonomia. This first video is just basically an introduction to me, so you guys know who I am, my age, what my symptoms are, and how my journey started. From here, I plan on doing videos that show what the real bad days are like, because today I'm having a fairly decent day. It shows what the real bad stuff looks like. It'll show what the real good days look like, how I manage to get out with my family and do things. There'll be a lot more videos to come. My husband's also going to start his own YouTube channel showing how it is to be the caregiver of someone with a chronic disorder such as POTS or dysautonomia. So with all that said, let me just get started. I'm 39. I have 4 beautiful children, 20-year-old boy, 20-year-old girl, 17-year-old boy, and a 14-year-old boy. They are all just absolutely wonderful when it comes to this stuff. They have been some of my biggest supporters, and they make sure I don't overdo, and they're always there to catch me when I fall, quite literally. My husband, he is my rock. Like I couldn't be without him. You guys really should have your significant others check out his videos when they're up, and I will link them into my videos as well so people can check those out, because I don't think that there's anybody in the world better suited to care for somebody with a chronic illness than my husband. His patience has been outstanding, not to mention he's always trying to do something to make it seem like it's less bad than it is. For example, right now he's working on repainting my wheelchair, because another something about me is I'm kind of dorky and I really like a lot of comic book style stuff. Flash, Arrow, DC, Marvel, all of it. And my biggest thing is Iron Man. I love Iron Man. So he was painting my wheelchair Iron Man colors, and eventually he wants to redo the entire thing. I'm really kind of worried he might end up adding a motor to it that's a little too powerful, and I might just zoom past whatever it is I'm trying to go to. But his intentions are always wonderful, and he's always trying to do whatever it takes to make me feel better. So his videos will definitely be valuable for anybody who's caring for someone or who loves someone with dysautonomia or any other chronic illness for that matter. Anyway, so that said, I have dysautonomia, as I said before. They suspect that it's POTS because there's several versions of dysautonomia. POTS is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Basically, my symptoms are when I stand up, I get really high heart rate. It jumps at least 30 beats a minute, if not more so, especially when I'm up and moving. If I'm moving, it gets really, really high. I have severe heat intolerance. I get really, really hot. Feels like my blood is like lava. I can't stand it. It drives me crazy. I used to be really cold-natured before this, and now I cannot get cool. I don't sleep very well. I'm always uncomfortable. I'm kicking my legs constantly. I can't get comfortable. I'm hot and I'm sweating. My hands and feet sweat quite a bit. I'm always extremely tired, even now, even though I look like I'm all right. That's a bad thing about dysautonomia, is it's an invisible illness, and a lot of us out there with it, we try to keep it as hidden as possible because we don't want people feeling sorry for us, or we just don't want to talk about it because that just seems to exasperate it, or at least it does for me. So we just pretend we're okay even when we're not. Always super tired. I could always take a nap, but then I can't sleep when I try to take a nap, so it's kind of sucky. Before this, I had hypoglycemia, which I obviously still do, but with the rapid heart rate, now I'm having a hard time controlling my hypoglycemia. I faint a lot, a minimum of 2 to 3 times a week, if not more so. There are a lot of people out there with dysautonomia, POTS in particular, that have a lot more symptoms than I do, have it a lot worse than I do, can't get out of bed at all, ever. And for those people, I am so, so sorry. I really wish there was some kind of cure for this, not just for myself, but especially for you all, because it can always be worse than where you're sitting. So that said, that's some of my symptoms. And like I said, I have some good days and some bad days. The leg pain for me, the leg pain and the fatigue and fainting are the worst. And when I faint and I come to, I have a horrible headache. It feels like somebody whacked me upside the back of the head with a baseball bat, which really sucks. And that don't go away for several hours, if not days. Just depends on what I'm doing that day, or if I got too hot or whatever. So those are my symptoms, and they seem to be getting progressively worse. I have started having excessive sweating in my hands and feet. I've also started having little ticks, like little jerks, that I wasn't having before. So let me tell you about where this all started for me. About 5 years ago, I started feeling, it was the fatigue first. It came on and it was so bad. I thought, I can't even get up to do the laundry or get up and do the dishes or take my kids to school. I was so tired. And I mean, it's not just your standard, well, I'm just tired, I'm a tired mom. I mean, because I think every mom in the world is always tired, but this was way more than that. It was almost like I had pneumonia. I couldn't get from point A to point B without being short of breath and just exhausted. I couldn't get up and go to the bathroom without feeling like I just might pass out right there on the spot. So I went to the doctor, and turned out my white blood cell count was elevated, and so they thought, well, you have an infection. So they treated me with antibiotics. White blood cell count did not come down. So they sent me to several other doctors. I had seen a GI doctor and had all kinds of cameras shoved in all kinds of places. I was fine in that route. They sent me to an endocrinologist. They sent me to a rheumatologist. They tested me out the wazoo. I mean, they even did things like bone marrow biopsy because they thought I had leukemia. They tested me for all sorts of autoimmune diseases. But they didn't do the simplest of tests, which was checking my vitamin levels. All of my vitamin levels were low, but my B12 was next to zero. It was my regular doctor, or the new regular doctor that I had seen after all of these doctors had put me through hell. The new regular doctor that I decided to see had decided to test me for these things, and he also tested my adrenaline. My adrenaline was very high, and my vitamins were very low. The B12 was at next to nothing. So he started me on a liquid vitamin, and I started feeling a little better, but it still wasn't where I needed to be. So I went back after being on the liquid vitamin for a month, and all of my vitamin levels came up except the B12. It didn't move. So he decided to add me a sublingual under the tongue vitamin B12 supplement. Again, a month later, nothing changes. So he says, well, you're not absorbing your B12. So you have what's called pernicious anemia, which is a form of an autoimmune disease that causes you not to absorb vitamin B12 through your mouth or your digestive system. So I have to get injections. I take injections every 4 days for pernicious anemia to keep my B12 normal. Once that was normalized, I started feeling a lot better. I was doing well. I went to school full-time while I was taking care of my kids as well. Graduated from my 2-year college with an associate's in journalism, and then went to Texas A&M University and graduated with a degree, a bachelor's in mass communications and sociology. And that's one thing. I'm glad I went ahead and got that done, because that's another symptom I didn't tell you guys about, is the brain fog that comes with dysautonomia is absolutely atrocious. There are some days that I can't even put together a sentence, and hopefully today's not one of them, so eventually you'll see a video where I can't put things together. Even now, though, I'm still saying a lot. I'm having to think really hard in order to do this video. But I had a 4.0 GPA at Texas A&M with a bachelor's in mass communications, and now I have a hard time communicating. It is super frustrating. I just want to strangle myself sometimes. It's hard to deal with when you went from feeling like you were really smart to now you just feel so stupid. I mean, I feel like I can't think to save my life. It's very frustrating. So that said, I went and did all the schooling, and I did really well. Everything was going great. I got a job working in radio advertising, which was exactly what I wanted to do, developing commercials, working with people. I was out driving all the time, meeting new people. It was the greatest. I mean, I was having so much fun. And then I got sick again. Don't know where it came from or why, but we think that it has a pretty close tie because dysautonomia, particularly POTS, can be set off by severe stress or trauma. And back in February of this year, which is 2019, in case you guys watch this video like way later. See what I'm talking about? I can't talk. That's part of POTS. I didn't used to be this way. Anyway, so back in February, my parents split up after 40 years, and my mom didn't take it so well. She kind of lost her mess and tried to walk out into oncoming traffic in front of my house. She tried taking a lot of pills and committing suicide. It was a very stressful time for me, and I literally had a nervous breakdown. But I did what everybody does and picked myself up, dust myself off, and went back to work and did everything I was supposed to do, and then I started getting sick. And what I mean by sick is I was very tired, and I couldn't breathe. I was so short of breath. My heart rate, I could feel my heart beating as though somebody was on the inside of my chest knocking to get out. Like beating, like, please let me out of here. And I thought, oh my gosh, what is this nonsense? And that's where it started. I mean, that's all I had was the tachycardia, the shortness of breath, and I was getting really bad dizzy. And I'm driving. I can't be getting really bad dizzy. I drive all day, every day. So my husband said, you need to go to the doctor. And I thought, well, this is probably just anxiety. And I think that's what most of us tell ourselves, is this is probably just anxiety. I probably am just imagining this. It's in my head. It's not a big deal. It'll go away. But my husband kept at me. See, that's what I'm saying. He's amazing. He kept at me, and I went ahead and went to the doctor. And she said I was going into SVTs because I was having such bad tachycardia. And she recommended I go see a cardiologist. Well, I didn't like the one I got sent to in my own town, so I went out of town. Found a really great doctor. He tested all kinds of things. He tested me for congestive heart failure. He did a tilt table test. He did a stress test, a nuclear stress test. He did an implanted heart monitor, which I still currently have in right now. He's really good. I mean, he tested everything. And finally, as of this past Thursday, I got a diagnosis of dysautonomia, which it was suspected all along, but we didn't know for sure. The tilt table test confirmed dysautonomia, with suspected POTS being the actual dysautonomia. But he is sending me to a neurologist to confirm, make sure that he didn't miss anything. And because the additional symptoms that have crept up with the not being able to talk, the tics, the fainting, a lot of that, it's been really frustrating, and it seems to get progressively worse. Like I said, today is one of the good days, and even so, my communication skills are not on point, but not near like they used to be, but they're good for me right now. I can't predict when I'm going to have bad days or when I'm going to have good days, but since I'm going to do a video every day, you guys will get to see a bad day, I am sure. But I didn't want to do my first video until after I'd gotten the definitive diagnosis, and I did. But he also suggested that I may have MS, which is multiple sclerosis. I don't really even know what all that entails. I haven't had a lot of time to research it since hearing that. I think, because it's been in the news so much and social media and whatnot, I automatically had that, oh my God, not this too. I mean, what is this, and what's the prognosis, and all that. And that's literally the extent of information I got. And I don't really know where else to go with this. So I have to wait until I see a neurologist, and they'll start testing for that, and do further testing on the dysautonomia and start a treatment plan. But as of right now, I do have a beta blocker on board, and there's a few other things that I have done to self-treat, and I'll go over those in a separate video, tell you guys what's working for me, and go from there. So I hope you guys enjoy the videos that are coming. I know this one was kind of boring. I'm hoping the next ones won't be quite as long, and they will also be a lot more informative, but I kind of wanted to do this as an introduction. So I hope to see you guys again soon, and if you have any questions, please post them below. Please subscribe, and I'll be happy to answer anything I can. Also, if you guys have any suggestions, I'm totally open. So I appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Thanks.